Hey, what's up, guys? Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Hope everyone's having a great start to your day, and hopefully this video will make it that much more better as we explore some of the most neatest, most relevant errors and varieties that people are selling on eBay. And you'll find that a lot of these are being found either searching or hunting through pocket change. There is, of course, coin roll hunting. If you're not familiar with that particular activity, it's where you go to the bank, you buy up some rolls, and you search through them. You look for like key dates. The big one these days is hunting through like $half and quarters for silver coins. That's been popular for as long as I could remember, and yeah, I mean, you know, aside from that, you're looking for errors and varieties. Through these, through what I like to call just house money hunting, if that makes sense. You're essentially buying coins from the bank at face value, going through them and sending them back, and the only investment is time and gas in your car. Another thing I like is going to a local coin shop or show. If you have a show in town, that's a great place to do what I like to call cherry picking. And essentially, you're buying a error or variety that wasn't attributed by the dealer, and they're selling it just as a raw dated coin. That's another thing I like doing. You know, you can look at older coins, find repunch dates, double dies, things of that nature, add it to your collection or resell it. I love reselling these coins because some of them are in particularly low grade, and sometimes you want to kind of, you know, sell those to make more money and buy some of the better stuff that's out there in the market. So without further ado, I figured let's go ahead and jump right into this list. We have a pretty stacked list today for your midweek January 12th edition of the PCMR. All seller images are raw. I probably would have rotated a few of them only because they were sideways or weird or any of that. But you'll notice that some of these images are also out of focus. So, you know, aside from showcasing some pretty neat finds, you're going to get a little bit of eBay lesson if you're interested in selling anything on that platform. So without waiting too much longer, let's go ahead and jump into the first coin. We have a 1964D Lincoln Memorial Cent. You'll notice that there is a little bit of a curved clip right there by the date. It's decent. It's a single clip, but you know, you could find coins like this with 2 clips, 3 clips. I haven't seen a 4 clip example in quite some time, but those are very rare. They're like a unicorn out there in the error scene. But this coin is also in pretty decent shape. You'll notice that it's got some mint red poking through throughout the coin, and this particular example ended up selling for $4.97 with 3 bids. Single clips are kind of low on the totem pole as far as value, but anytime you could turn something like this that you find in change and turn it into maybe $4 or $5, certainly works. And again, you got to take the small little wins with the big ones, and they all kind of average out at the end. In addition, we do have a 1958 Lincoln Wheat Cent. This coin is in really nice shape. Lots of mint red luster. It looks like it came out of a BU roll. What I like most about this particular example is that you have also a really strong Blakesley effect. Blakesley effect would be that flattening edge on the opposite side right here from where the clip is. That's pretty standard, but you'll also come across legitimate, genuine clipped coins without that Blakesley effect. So keep that in mind. You just got to know to find a little bit of a taper where the rim comes around to that clip. It tapers off, and it's not a hard cut. This particular coin right here is sold for $6.85 with 7 bids. Again, not a particularly tough coin to find. With enough hunting, you'll find a few of these. And again, they all have some sort of value to collectors of this type. Now, the next one that we have here is going to be a piece of currency that you probably don't see too often. But what we have here is actually a, what is this, a $20 bill. A Federal Reserve note. It's missing the complete third print on the front of the note. It's got the overprint with the serial numbers and the district seals, and then the quad corner numerals in there. But I have seen a few of these out in the coin shops and shows and online. Heritage Auctions sells quite a few of these graded. It looks like that this one was found really early on out of like maybe a bank strap. Maybe this individual worked in a bank and found this in a strap. But it looks like it really didn't circulate, and more so it was a pocket piece. So it's got three very hard folds in there, probably folded up and thrown into a wallet. And that was that. And it was just held on as kind of like a pocket piece or a good luck piece. But that's what this one looks like. The back of the note looks normal. But this is an older design, what they call small head design type. That is pre-1996 era. This particular note right here sold for $188.45, and that's with 4 bids. Probably not something that you're going to be able to cherry pick out there or find in at the bank. Going through notes. That missing third print on the front is really noticeable. And oftentimes they won't survive out in circulation. They'll be scooped up and picked up as an oddity by someone, whether it's a bank employee or, what have you. The next one that we have here is a really nice off-center 1968D Lincoln Memorial cent. This one looks like it's off-center by about 55-60%, give or take. The coin's in decent shape. It does have a little bit of carbon spotting on the reverse, but this is a date that you infrequently find out in the open market, and people do collect these by date. So if they're, say, for example, trying to assemble a full date run of off-center struck memorial cents, more than likely this is going to be in their top 25% kind of hit list of coins. 68Ds don't come up that often, and one that is this far off-center with a full date and mint mark and in pretty decent shape can be a little bit tough. This one sold for $40. A best offer was accepted for that amount for this particular example. Now, you guys had seen the actual title of this video and probably looked at the thumbnail. There are new coins within the last 2 to 3 years that have come up and have made a huge splash in the error scene. This particular coin right here was one of them. This is a 2020 Philadelphia minted Jefferson Nickel with a pretty tremendous strike through on the reverse. And how the strike through on this coin occurred was that the die, actually it was probably in this particular case the hammer die, because the hammer die has the reverse die on it. It's kind of flipped backwards compared to what it used to be back in the day. But this particular die had a hardened piece of grease with debris on the die face, and it struck a number of coins, including this one that has a pretty tremendous looking strike through on the reverse there. But I remember when this one came onto the scene, and it started off slow. It sold for maybe like $20 at one point, and then it just kind of picked up from there. But it's retained a lot of value. And if you guys have noticed the overall mint quality the last 2 years, it hasn't been good. And a lot of that has to do with the pandemic and just the work shortage and everything like that. But this particular seller ended up selling a pack of 10 of all of the same errors. Probably came out of BU rolls or bank rolls. That ended up selling for $76 with 20 bids. If it were me, I probably would have sold each coin individually. You would have gotten about $20 per coin that way. So, I mean, this is a really good buy for someone that wants to obtain it and then resell them individually. Maybe do a little, kind of like a quantity auction, or what in the back of the day they used to call it Dutch auction, where you actually had 10 available of this one item and then you sold them, as people bought them. But really cool. And again, collectors will pay just absorbent amount of money to own first timers out there. We do have another couple coins to talk about in today's video where they just came out of the gates running. And this is one of them right here. The next one that we have here is the 1973 Jefferson Nickel. You can see a little bit of a curved clip at the 9 o'clock position on the coin there. You do have a pretty nice flattened Blakesley effect edge here right by the date, so that's notable. This particular coin sold for $14.95. And another one here, we had a lot of clips this week, and yeah, this one right here is on a Massachusetts. You'll notice that all of these are on Philadelphia minted examples. They are kind of the standard bearer. They are the big volume kind of producer of our coins here in the United States, and finding errors is not that tough. Varieties even so come from this particular minting facility. So this is a 2000p. You can see just a right good sized, just curved clip right there. You do have a little bit of Blakesley as well. This one sold for $22.74. Statehood quarter errors are top of the heap right now. So if you have any, whether they're off center or a clip, they're highly marketable today. Now, this is something I don't traditionally talk about, but it's worth mentioning. Silver is big industry right now. The demand for physical forms of any sort of silver, where it's like 999 or quad 9 fine, bars, ingots, scrap, sterling, and you can even put into that group also like 90%, 80% coin silver. All the stuff is being scooped up, but what not a lot of people are paying attention to are the vintage nature of some of these bars. For example, this Engelhard bar is one that you don't traditionally see with that kind of I forgot what kind of stamping they use for the serial numbers on these, but this is like late 70s, early 80s vintage bars, and I know it seems like hard to believe that that's even considered vintage, but yeah, I mean, these things are being desired out there. Allegedly, there's less than 10 of these particular bars that were ever produced with this style. On the back, it has some sort of like strike through or whatever you call it. There's some sort of void. I don't even know what the actual terminology for something like this is here, but there's a little bit of a crater on the back. But just a really neat, kind of like a bread loaf bar is what they call it, I guess. Fresh poured with stamping all over it. Excuse me. But if you guys know your bars and, and you specialize in it, there is money to be made. Like, this is a 10-ounce bar, and in today's market, that's about $350, and that's including the premium associated with such sizes. Just so happens, because some of the rarity nature of this bar, it sold for $2,000, and that was a best offer accepted amount of money. The seller, I believe, was asking $2,400 or something like that, and ended up settling for $2,000. So yeah, it's way above market for what silver melt is, but you know, you got to understand the collector base. And if something is a true rarity, they'll pay true rarity money, in the case of this one. All right, so this is a pretty neat variety, if you could call it that. I think it's intentional, but it's a 2004 Denver. This is a Denver minted Wisconsin state quarter with the low leaf on there. You can see it right there. There's also a high leaf variant. This is a fresh sale from a new seller in Oklahoma. So it's relatively, or maybe Nebraska. It's one of the two states, but they're well within earshot of where the original drop zone of these leaf varieties of Wisconsin state quarters went to. This one right here sold for $54.75 with 2 bids. Again, a really low amount of money for what is considered to be like a $75 to $100 coin, but you know, this is a new seller that offered this one. And oh boy, we got another one of these as well. 2000p sack dollar Wounded Eagle. This is also the FS901 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. This is, of course, a marquee early golden dollar age of variety, and this one has the pair of die gouges that goes right through the eagle breast area here. So you have the main primary one. This one has seen some circulation, so Still has this top gouge right here that actually goes through the eagle breast and then through the other side, and then there's a secondary little die gouge as well. But yeah, this particular seller finds these on a weekly basis, sells probably maybe a half dozen or so per week. So I'd say that's pretty good work. This particular coin example sold for $74.49 with 2 bids. Now this is more like it. 1988 D Kennedy half dollar, this time with 2 curved clips. They're not particularly like wild and strong, but you know, there's 2 of them on there, and that automatically bumps the multiplier for the value of these things. This one sold for $32 with 8 bids, so not too bad. These type of errors on the larger denominations of U.S. coins are certainly worth a lot more money than, say, if it was found on a nickel or a penny. There's a brand new 2009 A $100 bill, and as you could tell, this one is miscut. Nothing misaligned here. All the printings from 1, 2, and 3 are all perfectly centered. It's just the cutting was way off. You can even see just a little sliver of the corresponding next note in that sheet. And if we look on the reverse here, you're going to see that this note has no visible folds. Looks like it was pulled out of a fresh bank strap, which is quite nice. Collectors of currency like high-graded items, and more than likely this is going to end up in some collection that's worthy of these types. This particular note right here sold for $158.99. It's a relatively minor miscut, but still, if you're able to get 1.5 times face for something like this, that's not bad. I'd take that. Another clip, this time on a 34D Buffalo nickel. It's quite nice. The clip is a little bit larger. You still have a full date, and you do have a readable mint mark. The coin is probably like a fine 15 VF20. It does have 75% of the buffalo horn remaining on there, which is kind of like a main indicator of grade on these things. Coin's in pretty decent shape, and this one sold for $40.50. And then for all you Lincoln Cent lovers out there, especially you folks that like to go through just rolls of these or maybe bags, this is another good one, and one in which that has been a constant just saving grace for a lot of skunky kind of quality of rolls and bags out there. This is a 53 D over D repunched mint mark. You can see the second D, or the primary Denver mint mark that got punched in first, is west of the primary mint mark. So pretty neat. Again, this is another one to look out for, and it's damn near naked eye visible because the mint mark will be directly under the 5 in the date. It's like directly due south of the 5, whereas normally the original placement of the mint mark on a 53 is going to be between the 9 and 5, and then south of that. So yeah, this thing is shifted all the way to the right, and usually if you find one, you know, going through just bags of these things, and you find a mint mark that's directly underneath the 5, that's pretty good first step in finding this RPM. This one right here, by the way, sold for $13.99 with 11 bids. Again, it is a nice condition coin, but common enough out there that you can find them with very, very little problems. And here's a 2000p Jefferson Nickel. This one's slightly off-center, not by much though, maybe 5%. But, you know, it's a decent-looking coin that has circulated. But, you know, what do we have here? We have a coin that sold for $21, which seems like a lot of money, given its condition and date. But come to find out, once you cross into the new millennium, it's tough to find these type of errors on Jefferson Nickels. Go figure, didn't know that. So $21, pretty solid sale for this one. And this was a coin that we had highlighted on our live coin Q&A stream here this past Monday, and this coin was sold by its submitter. Actually, it's one of my favorite coins ever as far as cud types, but this is a dual cud. You actually have a full cud on the obverse where the date is. But you also have the retained cud on the reverse. You can see it right over the word United. But you also have the corresponding weakness on both of those cuts. You also have the weakness here above States in America, but also the weakness here above the motto as well. The only other thing worth noting, it does have a very shallow scratch that goes through TY and Liberty and then into the fields. But aside from that, just a beautiful coin. It even has a pretty gnarly die clash on there too as well. You can see the spitting eagle, so that's part of the clash. You can see other clash areas here. And then in front of Washington's eyes, bridge of nose area. But this one right here sold for $88, and that's with 14 bids. So yeah, it's like the kind of like well within the range of what these sell for. I know they're like 75 to $100. They're relatively common in the cud world. You can find way smaller cuds for a lot cheaper, but they're way tougher to find. This one right here seems to pop up a few times a week, so that does say a lot. And this is a pretty neat V nickel. Don't know where it was found, but I'm willing to bet that, you know, based off of the circulation, that this was a whole piece at one point. But you have a V nickel here that split right along its edge. Like this is like 50% of the coin it was, but you could tell the overall clamshell had fallen off at one point, and yeah, that's pretty neat. Very, very, very exaggerating looking coin. This would stump a lot of people who are new to numismatics. This one right here sold for $19.99. Pretty well worn. So you know that's the value on something like this. So here's our next significant lot. We have a lot of 8 Lincoln cents. All seem to be a little bit off center. Maybe a little bit of a broad strike on this 84 here. And you know, all the coins are in really good shape. That's what I like to see. A lot of full reds, some really nice mid-state pieces here. The coins, I would say, are highly liquid if you did buy this group and then resell on a single coin, single auction basis. You could probably get pretty close to doubling your money on something like this. This lot sold for $78.78 with 10 bids. I'd say this 1970D is the big winner out of the bunch. That coin by itself is a little bit tougher date and probably would sell for about $30. So not too bad. Really nice group. Be sure you guys look out for things like this, where you could buy the whole group at a discounted rate, because that's what bulk I guess sales kind of entails, is that you're willing to accept a little bit less money, but you sell the whole thing and get it out of your hair. So what do we have here? It looks like a blank disc of some sort, but what we have is a blank planchet. And I mean, just looking at the images, it could be anybody's guess. Is it nickel, quarter, you know, $half? It's none of those. This is actually a 22.7 gram blank to an Ike dollar. Big old heavy huge disc, copper nickel clad. This is of course a type 2, so it's got the upset kind of rims on the side there. It's ready for a strike. But yeah, this is a tougher blank planchet to find out there, but if you did find it, it's pretty neat. And you know, the larger dollar coins, kind of like the very weird you know, denomination. It's like like a $1 Susan B. Anthony blank planchet is actually quite desired. They're like $100 to $200. This one right here sold for $147, which is a very strong amount of money for an Ike blank planchet. And here's a 69S. No, it's not the double Die Obverse that everybody looks for, but how about a coin with a strike through on both sides? So you just see the weakness on both sides of the coin. It does have full rims, so it's not a tapered planchet, but you know, the dies probably had a nice little healthy smattering of grease on there to help lubricate the presses, and when it strikes through onto a coin, you have a lot of weakness. Missing most of Liberty, and then this whole left side, including right above the Lincoln Memorial, is all pretty weak as a result. This one right here sold for $10. So again, nice little flip right there into some cash. Now, I will have to give this seller some credit. This coin, a 43D steel cent, was actually sold and pitched as a let's say deteriorated die doubling coin. All right, they didn't sugarcoat it and say, oh yeah, this is a really cool double die, legit, you know, hub doubled and all that. No, they said specifically in their title, deteriorated die doubling. So telling the truth. I mean, you know, there is that, but this is a pretty phenomenal example of such an event. It's neither a variety or an error in numismatics. This one right here sold for $56 with 15 bids. You know, again, honesty is truly the best policy. And if you do that and you take great pictures like what this is, showing that die deterioration, I mean, I guess anything can happen. And it sure did in this listing. Now here's another new discovery, but I say this with a little bit of caution. This is a 1984 S Lincoln Proof cent. And this one was actually pitched as a S over S over S RPM. I kind of halfway believe that, but also at the same time, when I saw this other image, there's a lot of split plating right next to the mint mark. And as you guys know, 84 is a date where there are copper-coated zinc coins in both circulation strikes, but also proof strikes. So this is apparently a new unattributed RPM until we find out if that's really the case or if this is just extreme split plating around the mint mark. You know, I'm going to reserve my personal excitement for something like this as being a new discovery until it gets blessed through guys like Wexler and Connecticut and things like that. So, pretty cool. Again, I think 1980s Lincolns, because RPMs do exist during this particular decade before they went to a different... this one right here sold for $89.65 with 39 bids. The coin without the RPM-ish event on there generally sells for about $1. All right, it's not very expensive. Here's a little mild off-center struck or broad struck 1983 P Washington quarter. I would even say that it probably is even a partial tilted collar. You can see a little bit what looks to be just a little bit of a step there. So the collar was a little bit tilted and not fully engaged the way it's supposed to be. Coin's in really nice shape, and this one is sold for $19.99. Not too bad for this. And we're going to get a little update on this particular coin, 2021 P Washington crossing the Delaware quarter. Again, a coin that made lots of headlines for just a simple die chip above Washington's head on the reverse. Yeah, talk about fresh new discoveries. When this thing came out, it stirred the pot of the error scene by a good deal. And again, it started out a little bit slow coming out of the gate for the first month or two, but once people began to kind of really gauge the seriousness of this coin and how big the crown progression gets on some of them, people were beginning to pay more money just so they could add one to their collection. This one right here is, of course, the little bit smaller, I would say kind of like the mid-state, mid-progression of this crown die chip. And this one sold for $34.99, which again falls within that $30 to $40 range for this progression. We also have a 2020 Lincoln Shield cent. This is off-center by about 15%. This is a very attractive coin. Brand new coin. Again, you know, you never know what you're going to find out there in today's releases. We have the new coins coming out right now. As a matter of fact, the new Maya Angelou, I hope I got that right, American Women quarters have officially released. Some have been discovered. There have been a number here in California that have been found already. Denver's, of course. And yeah, they're being released this week from the Mint to the Fed Reserve Bank and then to their respective banks. This 2020 Lincoln Shield cent right here, very nice coin, by the way, sold for $31.99. And of course, the biggie out of the Washington Crossing the Delaware series is this huge crown die chip. This is a full-on late stage progression of this event. You could see this crown right here. I even call it a very sloppy hoagie sandwich or hamburger crown chip. Whatever you want to call it. Sorry, my dogs are all barking. Even they're excited about this coin. This is the one right here that really sets some waves in motion, and you know, it's kind of an update. These have fallen in price a little bit, but still, this one sold for $107.95 with 2 bids. Still some activity. Great to see that you're still able to, you know, at least get about $100 for this coin. But I would see these kind of you know, waning as we get into the new coins of 2022. This one's pretty cool. I've never personally found one of these, but I've gone through many rolls of 1960 large dates, and this one right here is a really nice, like, out of roll example, like a BU roll. You know, you won't find too many of these in this condition in just general circulation. But this one is a doubled die. You can see the arrow points that Jim had provided in his listing. Showcases this event perfectly. This one is double Die Obverse number 6, by the way, and it sold for $17.95. And here's a 1990p Jefferson Nickel. This one's off-center by about 45%, 50%, give or take. Some really nice shape. It looks to be, you know, like mid-state with some, like either toning or something on there, some schmutz, as they say. But yeah, again, this is a date that you would need for a date set of this type of error. And this one sold for $34.49. And of course, here's a Denver version of the large date 1960 Lincoln. This is the date, as you guys know, lots of repunchment marks. And even that small over large date coin that everybody loves so much. I love the 2 or 3 examples I have. I would not give them up for the world. They're just really neat. And when you have different date, size, and styles, I mean, it really opens the door to a lot of really cool things. This is also a repunch mint mark. You can see these, the first primary hammered in mint mark is east of the primary mint mark as seen here. You can see actually that vertical bar of the D underneath the curve of the primary mint mark. Very neat coin. This one right here sold for $15.39 with 6 bids, which is just well within the range of what these normally go for, especially nice mid-state examples. Now, this is a true circulation find right here. 1989p Jefferson Nickel struck through reverse, you know, much like that 2020 that we saw earlier in this program. That's what that one looks like, but, you know, 30 plus years removed from the other one that we talked about. Again, you know what to look for in these, you know, struck through grease and debris and metal shavings and all sorts of other stuff. This one right here is sold for $20.49. So again, that has a lot to do with the overall condition of the coin. And here's probably a much more dramatic version of a coin I've talked about in the last few weeks. This is the 2015p Homestead ATB quarter with all sorts of weird, funky die chips on the roof of that building. You can even see a little bit right here above the window, but this is affectionately referred to as the snowy roof. And it fits, man, just in time for winter. You could literally slide right off that thing if you're on the apex of that roof and you wanted to have some shenanigans going on. But yeah, this is a really cool later stage event of this die chip formation, and it's on both sides of the roof, you know. So after a little bit of snow melt, you know, a lot of that has come down a little bit. I've seen one that's a little bit more exceptional than this one, but this one's pretty good. So what does something like this go for on the open market? This one, because it's circulated, sold for $15.50, and that's with 8 bids. Pretty cool looking coin here. Here's another statehood error, 1999p. This is a Connecticut, and boy is this thing gorgeous. Really nice high-grade example. Again, these are desired because it is a statehood quarter program coin. And the condition is tops on this one. This one sold for $84.50 with 9 bids. Again, that is a very rich amount of money for this relatively recent example here. And it's good to see stuff like this come on the scene. I mean, this is about as attractive as you get. The Connecticut Charter Oak design is one of my favorites. It's probably like top 2 or 3 in the Statehood Quarter Series. But it's good to see stuff like this pop up. I think it's worth every penny that it was bought for. And this is another coin that really made some headlines in 2021. The Tuskegee Airmen was, of course, the last release of the ATB Quarter Series. And this one has the Burning Building Strike Through, the much more later state of this formation. You can even have the secondary strike through, which comes off of the wing of the airplane, and that's what a lot of people want. They want that dual event on here. These are, of course, all Philadelphia minted coins, and this one's still a strong seller at $275 is what this one realized at. Yeah, they're right around $200 to $250. This one is a much higher grade specimen. Probably a mid-state 64 thereabouts. Real nice example. Again, you're not going to see too many of these in this high grade for much longer. And then finally, the last couple listings here are from Fred Weinberg. If you guys don't know who he is, he's the big error dealer slash just the guy. He's the guy. He knows his errors up there, and he's been around the business for decades, and he had recently sold on eBay a couple of really cool canceled dies from actual U.S. minted coins. This is from the Olympic 1996 dollar coin. I believe these were silver, so they were 999 fine. There was a close-up of this particular one right here, and yeah, for these commemoratives, they did the slash cancellation on there, where they just simply placed an X right on the die face. And this is what I feel is more desired as far as U.S. mintage dies. The dies today, if you're able to get one off of like a shield cent or something, they actually ground the whole entire face of the die because they don't want you to counterfeit anything. But this is really cool right here to see something like this. And this one sold for $474.73 is what the final hammered price is off of 37 bids. It's got the matching serial number as well at the base of the die. But also he had sold the high jump version of the Olympic coin as well. It's also dated 1996. And it's also got the reason for retirement on the COA on there. So it says Starburst. I don't know exactly what that entails, but it does say that as well. And this is also a $1 denomination proof die. And there's a close-up of what that looks. So you also have the same cancellation X right on the die face. And again, it's got plenty of detail on there, and that's what you want as far as the collecting these dies. If it has any semblance of design detail on there, that makes it just pretty much a lot more desirable with that. This one realized with shipping $570, and that's with 32 total bids combined. Just a beautiful, beautiful set. There is, of course, the serial number. You can match it up to the COA. And that's going to go ahead and do it, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. It was a lot of fun. We are seeing brand new quarters hitting the streets this week. They are already circulating. And there's a really cool video with the production of these brand new Maya Angelou quarters. Go ahead and check it out on their YouTube channel, US Mint. And really neat. I watch it like half a dozen times because I think it's just really interesting to see these things being manufactured and, produced and all that. But yeah, they're out there. Look out for the mirrors. Would love to talk about them with you. In addition, what I haven't talked about is some of you have eBay accounts and stores, and if you wanted me to do an assessment on your eBay store, please let me know. just shoot me an email, info@livecoinqa.com. And I could probably do a video if you want me to, and give you a little bit of advice, maybe ways that you can improve on your eBay store to help you out with algorithms. But that's going to go ahead and do it, guys. I'm Sean with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to today's video if you enjoy it. Of course, hit the dislike button. I know it's still there, but it doesn't show the metrics. But yeah, if you're not digging on any of it, yeah, go ahead and hit that dislike button. Make it known. Yeah, you are entitled to that. But hopefully you got a little bit of inspiration to go out there and do a little hunting of your own. Money is to be made out there. Real is easy as going to the bank and picking up some rolls, baby. Coinaholics, we are discovering together. You guys take care. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next coin video. So long.